A lot has already been said about the movie Gravity, mostly regarding the amazing visuals, not least in the 3D version. Apart from utmost praise of the visuals, I've seen a lot of bad press and dismissive reviews of the plot, but this is precisely what I'd like to pick over here today. Once the initial hype and hubbub cleared, it seems to me that many viewers felt shortchanged when it comes to the plot, saying that it's shallow and full of stereotypes and tropes. However, the plot and what it does here is nothing short of amazing. The rest is a distraction. A beautiful distraction, but a distraction nonetheless. The other prevalent criticism I hear about this movie is to do with George Clooney. That he's too calm and self-satisfied in his smug and smarmy demeanour even as everything collapses around him. I would like to address both these issues and explain why I feel Gravity is perfect as is, and also why and in what way George Clooney plays this part perfectly. I will do this while we watch the first 15 minutes or so, and will trust you to find more of the same as you watch the movie in full at your convenience. By all means, if you feel like it, do add further details below in the comments that I might not mention. The first shot of the film puts us in awe. There is no doubt that all of us are minuscule ants in an amazing, wonderful, beautiful yet daunting world. Some technical chit-chat slowly becomes audible as the world continues to spin. Sandra Bullock, Dr. Stone, is in space with two others. She is depressed. She is anxiety-ridden. She is worn out, burnt up and dead inside. Possibly the only thing pushing her on is her career, but her breakdown is inevitable and it's coming up fast. From minute one, she is not feeling well. It is clear she is already suffering.
Medical is concerned about your ECG reading.
I'm fine, Houston.
Well, medical doesn't agree, Doc. Are you feeling nauseous?
Not any more than usual, Houston.
She now,
Diagnostics are green.
clearly out of breath, proceeds to change the subject, talking shop. Her fear of discovery leading to the abandonment of the mission is stressing her out further, but we'll get back to that in a little while. I've read a lot of criticism of George Clooney in this film. He plays George Clooney the same as he always does. He plays Buzz Lightyear. He's a comic book, too smooth, two-dimensional caricature, without a hair out of place in the worst situation possible, making him and the movie unbelievable. Well, I disagree, and here's why.
Houston, I have a bad feeling about this mission.
Please expand.
Okay, let me tell you a story. It was 96. I've been up here.
How does one deal with anxiety, nausea, depression, feelings of inadequacy? Whilst in that moment, should we A. concentrate on these bad thoughts, wonder why we are having them? B. Try to work through the processes and steps that led us to this nasty negative place? C. Panic? D. Try to put a plan in place that will stop this happening in future? Or do we E. Ignore it, free our mind, then when free, proceed with dealing with what's in front of us? The correct answer is, and only ever can be, E. In the height of overwhelming panic, nausea, stress, we need to ignore the thing that is causing the difficulty. Take a moment to find our inner peace. Only then can we possibly cope, when we are somewhat relaxed. Enter Captain George.
Tell him I still prefer my 67 Corvette, though. Speaking of which, did I ever tell
We know the Corvette story, Matt.
even engineering?
Especially
From the beginning, Clooney is clowning around,
we're going to miss you,
making
Matt.
small talk and jokes, belittling the seriousness of the mission. And now we're no longer worried about the mission, or the million things that can and will go wrong, but instead, we're listening to George's calm voice as we, that is Dr. Stone, are free to mechanically work through the job without overthinking the overwhelming problems at hand, or running through our own fears and doubts over and over. Next, Houston asks Sharif for a time estimate.
Thank you, Doctor. Sharif, what's your status?
Nearly there. Replacing battery Light is not good for the heart. System is ready to reactivate.
Hubble telescope engaged. Upgrade fully functional.
So before anything has even happened, in the first couple of minutes, while the camera is still in the process of zooming in on the initial location, we've had talk of medical, ECG, nausea, anxious, anxiety, not good for the heart. This is a movie about anxiety, the gravity of anxiety, if you will.
Dr. Stone, Houston. Medical now have you with a temperature drop to 35.9 and a heart rate rise to 70. How are you feeling?
Houston, I'm fine. Just keeping your lunch down in 0G is harder than it looks.
Dr. Stone, medical is asking if you want to return to Explorer.
Negative. We've been here a week, Houston. Let's just finish this. Card is up.
Soon an issue arises, and Houston asks Dr. Stone how long it'll take to fix.
I'm on it.
How long do you think it'll take you?
1 hour.
Outstanding. Installing your system in the Hubble is the purpose of this mission.
Clearly she doesn't suffer from Sharif's indeterminate estimate syndrome, nor, obviously, his lack of anxiety. The first sign of real danger comes when Houston says,
Explorer, this is Houston.
Go ahead, Houston.
NORAD reports a Russian satellite has incurred a missile strike.
Kowalski's eyes dart to Dr. Stone to check her reaction. She takes a little longer to consider what she has heard before looking to George to gauge how to react. Seeing him smiling calmly back is reassurance enough to keep her working methodically.
Current debris
He
orbit
checks his
does
less
not
experienced
overlap with your
co-worker,
trajectory.
who is still floating merrily on his wave of calmness. Now she pauses and stutters.
Should we be worried?
His reply,
Well, let's let the boys down there worry for us.
isn't this certainty exactly what we all crave? Dr. Stone, is already on the verge of panic. But put it down to experience, or writer's prerogative, Captain George knows nothing is achieved through panic. Smile, and if you can't control it, continue doing what can be done. It's not that he did something to avoid catastrophe, but even if he rushed back to the ship at this point, it would make zero difference. In fact, it would almost certainly whip everyone into so much of a frenzy, they would almost certainly all die during or soon after the first debris strike. Still, he's concerned enough now to gently inquire without raising suspicions how much training she has actually had.
How long was your training?
6 months.
Including holidays?
Mm-hmm.
So, what is this scanning system?
Oh, nothing, lad. It's just a...
Soon the debris hits and Dr. Stone is sent reeling. She is out of control. Too much is happening for her to focus on any one thing. She's thinking of everything, unable to concentrate on anything that might possibly save her.
Dr. Stone, detach! You must detach!
Kowalski's single-minded order is all that there is to save her. You must detach.
You need to detach!
What? Are you mad? How can I possibly detach myself? I'll die if I do. I can't do it anyway. We would all scream back. There's too much going on, too much to concentrate on, too much to worry about. Yet, that one single command is the key. Detach. Whether it's in space, at work, in the kitchen, when everything is too much to take in, first of all, detach. Worry about all that other stuff some other time. Detach. Every fibre of your being is screaming at you, no, don't let go. You find it impossible to concentrate enough to do the opposite to how you were seemingly programmed to react.
Can't see you anymore. Do it now.
Finally she detaches and is alone, still reeling, but now like a bunny in the headlamps. Fear has her frozen. Now her body is running on instinct.
Stone, do you copy? Repeat, do you copy?
Yes, I copy. I'm just
Give me your position.
I don't know. I'm spinning. I can't.
Report your position.
GPS is down. It's down. I can't.
Give me a visual.
I told you nothing. I see nothing.
You have the visual of Explorer.
No.
You ISS.
No!
You need to focus. Anything to the sun and the earth. Give me coordinates.
breathe.
Give
I
me
can't breathe.
coordinates.
It takes her a long time, but finally she is forced to breathe again. To do nothing but breathe. 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 Now, through the magic of cinema, we are taken seamlessly through her spacesuit visor to see the world from her point of view. To witness the world as she sees it, reeling. Still out of control, but calm enough now to function, she gets her bearing and reaches out for the first time, as if to say, "Okay, I'm ready now. I'm completely in your hands."
Copy.
This is the point where she regains control of her senses.
Visual. I have
She is still powerless, and she knows it, but she is no longer panicking.
ISS is at 7 o'clock. Lieutenant Kowalski, do you copy?
The camera exits her visor again so the story can continue. I won't continue giving a blow-by-blow account of how I see this movie, so I'll stop now. On Clooney, though, I'd just like to say this. His character is a caricature. He plays the perfect human being who is able to cope with the situation without once doing or saying the wrong thing. But that's not a flaw with the character or the plot. It is the whole point. This is exactly how to handle such a situation or such a person in a perfect world. Or out of it. Clooney's caricature is not a distracting misstep to an otherwise impressive movie. He is there to demonstrate how to handle this situation perfectly. It only seems ridiculous to us because nobody could do it. Later in the movie, he is even more perfect. But I'm sure if you've seen it already, you've considered for yourself why this is. Or you will come up with your own explanation when you do. Another misstep I've seen levelled at this film is complaints of B-movie plot insertions, trying to quickly get us to root for the protagonists by crowbarring in some hokey past trauma that serves no purpose other than to make us feel sorry for them. Usually the guy who tells us the biggest sob story is the one who gets killed first. In Gravity, Dr. Stone tells us,
I had a daughter.
She was 4. She was at school playing tag, slipped, hit her head, and that was it. Stupidest thing.
in this movie, such hokey dialogue is most certainly not a motion time filler in between disasters. It itself is the point of the movie.
Since then, that's what I do.
Well, yes, it is shorthand for whatever trauma you're having yourself, but what do you expect from a 90-minute action movie? Anyway, this movie is inside out, and deliberately so. It's a sheep in wolf's clothing, and I like that very much. It has also been said that the 3D and space effects mask a vacuous, too simple plot. But no, I strongly disagree. The 3D and space effects distracts us from the real purpose of this film. It doesn't ram it down our throats like so many more commercially minded or sincere yet possibly misguided filmmakers might do. Instead, it dazzles and blindsides and impresses us so much with its visuals that we don't mind taking on board the difficult matter that it is actually addressing. It shows us a difficult story without mentioning it at all. After all, who would actually go to see Gravity outside the art house set if this was known as a movie about depression and anxiety. Gravity is not a movie about space. That's why it is called Gravity, when there is zero gravity in it. Please like this video if you enjoyed it, and subscribe to the channel. I will be doing more like this concerning movies that hide tough messages in plain sight. Also, I'll discuss other plot points in movies, digging into what is actually being said or presented. I'll also highlight other factors in movies that I feel warrant discussion, but don't see mentioned too often. I don't like spoilers, so rest assured if any spoilers are to be revealed, I'll give plenty of notice. I do hope you can join me.